Hello everyone, and welcome to this WebLogic server interview question and answer series. In this series, we will cover many commonly asked WebLogic server interview questions that can help you to prepare for real world interviews. But this session is not just about memorizing question and answers. Along with each question, I will also explain the related concepts and topics in detail so that you can develop a strong overall understanding of WebLogic server. So my overall goal is to help you not only crack interviews but also build a practical and strong knowledge that will helpful when working with the WebLogic server in real-time environments. So whether you are preparing for an interview or just want to strengthen your WebLogic fundamentals, this series should be very helpful for you. Okay, so let me quickly cover the topics that I have covered in complete series. So I tried my best to cover each and every critical subsystems of the WebLogic server. Okay, and wherever we actually do the implementations in the real-time world, and then in the interviews we get many questions. Okay, or you can say almost more than 90% of weightage of the interview question and answers we get from all these subsystems. Okay, so the first part is very basic generic question. So this is specifically not related to the WebLogic. So whenever we face any interviews, okay, then we get some generic questions before we start for the interviews. Okay, so in the first session, I will cover some of the generic questions so that you can be prepare yourself before you face any interviews. Okay, so you will be well prepared. Second, we will cover the different kind of a WebLogic installers, additions, and licenses. Okay, so we have a different kind of installers of WebLogic server, and then we have a different kind of additions. What is the difference between them, and how the licensing is work in the WebLogic server. Then we will cover the domain part. Okay, so whenever we do the installation of WebLogic, the very first thing we configure the domain. Okay, so after that we start configuring the multiple other resources of the domain. Okay, so I have designed this particular series in a way that I am going to cover each and every critical core component or subsystem in the sequential manner. Okay, just like we implement in the real-time environments. Right. So after domain, we will cover the admin server. What is admin server? And there are multiple questions around the admin servers, right? And then second, we will cover the managed servers where we actually deploy the applications. Then we have a high availability fundamental concept which is called a cluster. So what is cluster, how it works, what are the different algorithms in the cluster, how it is beneficial, right? Then we will cover the node manager. So node manager is a utility which is used for the overall life cycle management of your servers, right? Then logs is one of the critical part that we mostly deal with in the real-time environments for the troubleshooting purpose. Then we will cover the deployments and then data source and connection pool, which is again a very important and critical part of the WebLogic server, right? Because whenever your application need the connections from the database, it utilize the data source and connection pool. So there are a lot of parameters that we specify in the data source, in the connection pool. So what is the purpose of each and every parameter, how we can tune that. So everything we will cover in detail. Then we will cover the some important questions and answers related with the Java and JDK. And then specifically in the tuning and troubleshooting part, there are a few core areas, okay, where we are going to focus. The very first thing is heap and heap dump. So what exactly is the heap? How we tune the heap size? What kind of a different problems or errors exceptions that we can get with respect to the heap? Then what is the purpose of heap dump? How we do the analysis of heap dump? What are the different tools are available? Okay, then we'll talk about the tuning and troubleshooting related with the garbage collection. What is garbage collection? How we can tune that? What are the different algorithms that we can apply for tuning? Right? And then the thread part. What is the threads? And then what is thread dump? How we analyze the thread dump? Okay, at a very high level. And then there are a lot of different other features are also there, specifically when we talk about the tuning and troubleshooting of heap dump, garbage collection, thread and thread dump. So we are going to cover it in detail. Okay, then we'll talk about the transactions and JTA. Okay, so because we know that in the WebLogic server we have the data source and connection pool which we use to connect to the database, right? And we can have a distributed transactions, and then there would be a lot of questions around the transactions, failures, and recovery. So that we are going to cover in this session. Then we'll cover the JMS in detail. Okay, in JMS there are a lot of different kind of a subsystems that we have inside the JMS, like the JMS module, sub deployment, your JMS server, persistent store, queues, topics. So every topic we are going to cover in detail. Then one of the critical activity in the infrastructure about the patching, right? We know that every quarterly Oracle release the patches. Apart from that, we also get one-off patches to be applied, right? So how we apply the patches, what are the different tools that is available for applying the patches, what is the difference between CPU, stack patch bundle. So everything we will cover here. Okay, and then we will cover the SSL and TLS part. Okay, what is SSL, how it works, what is the difference between SSL and TLS, how we configure actually in the WebLogic server, what is the different kind of key stores we have, what are the different kind of certificates that we are going to cover in detail. Okay, then we'll cover the security realms, which is specifically related with the users and groups and the permissions, roles. Okay, then we have the WLST tool, which is a command line tool, so which is used for the automation of the WebLogic task. Okay, so whatever the task that you do from the admin console, okay, that we can do with the help of command line interface as well. So this mostly we use for the automation and for some short scripting as well. Okay, like to start stop the servers, to check the different statistics of a running domain. Okay, so we'll cover the concepts of WLST and some generic command that we use. Okay, then the other important core area is about the web server and integration. So whenever we implement the web logic server, okay, so practically in the live environment, we will have a web server in front of the web logic server. So what are the important critical parameters of a web server? Okay, we will cover the Apache web server, okay, and which will cover the Oracle OHS as well. And then what is the purpose of each and every parameter, and then how we perform or how we do the integration between the web server and integration, what is the role of plugins, right? So that we'll cover in detail. And the final section will be on the work manager. So we have a work manager for to prioritize the task in the WebLogic server. Okay, between the different applications, we can have the options to allocate the different kind of threads based on the different constraints, classes. Okay, so every work manager or every constraint and classes that we are going to cover in detail. So overall, I tried my best to cover each and every section or critical subsection of the WebLogic server, and I tried my best to cover each and every question in detail so that you get a thorough knowledge of the WebLogic server.